Hey, good morning. Mike Bingham here. I'd like to talk a little bit about the industrial sales job and what it's about. It's about one thing. It's called credibility. Remember that through this video. Sales and a sales job is a team effort. It's a team sport. If you have a sales quota, then you are in a team sport. Unless you're doing the billing, the quotations, the installation, the invoicing by yourself, well, you are on a team sport. Yep. So specifically, the industrial sales job means selling fixed capital products used in manufacturing or distribution. You may sell technical services. Your sales efforts are in specific territory and regions. You report to your regional sales manager. Other names are sales engineer, industrial sales representative. That's pretty cut and dried as it is. Education, this is going to vary. Key thing on this is, depending on the technicality of the product, selling industrial supplies, office supplies, and pencils to industry is going to require a different level than demonstrating and selling $200,000 and $300,000 machine tools or CNC machines for industry as well. On those cases, you probably need a technical degree in one of the disciplines like engineering, mechanical or electrical engineering, or physics oriented. One thing you do not need to do when you're interviewing a candidate for an industrial sales position is look, you're selling technical products. You have to have technical ability. If your candidate cannot put together a cabinet he bought from IKEA, then you got no business talking to him, and he has no business applying for a technical sales position. It's just not in it. By the time you took him aside and trained him on all the nuances and mechanical requirements, it'd be a waste of your time and his time. So forget about it. My recommendation is plenty of other candidates out there that already have the skills. Responsibilities. Maintain contact with the existing database. This is generic boilerplate crap that you always get in the sales position. But you have to, if you already have an established database, that is going to be your best source for future sales. You also have to have the ability to go out and solicit potential customers. Yeah, it was called cold calling, but now in the days of internet and the advent of the pandemic, COVID thing, knocking on doors just doesn't get it, especially when a sales call, last time I checked, was something like $400 to $500 per sales call. It's too much windshield time and effective use of resources. You will be required to travel to customers' locations to sell for strategic meetings, this kind of thing. Your other responsibilities are the scheduling of demonstrations, products, services, closing the sale because you have a sales quota, you're responsible for that. Submitting sales reports, forecasts, advise management about the competition's products, advising management about your products and why they aren't selling, probably because they didn't listen to the sales guys. And work industrial trade shows. Here's one, authority. You have damn near no authority. You have to use your own personal initiative, motivation, persuasion, communication skills to get people to work with you because you have no authority to do that. Your authority comes from the sales manager above that can support you in this matter. Work environment and physical demands. Well, basically, the toughest thing you're going to do is work a trade show for 8 hours straight on your feet on a concrete floor. Might have a cheap carpet with no padding. Your feet will be sore, and you'll be up for 8 hours straight talking to people and interacting with them. You're probably going to have the ability to lift and carry 25 pounds, a laptop, for your demonstration purposes. And considerations. Consider this. Frequently traveling large areas, lots of overnight stays, maybe traveling statewide or national. Long hours, long hours because most sales are done during regular sales hours. But you still have a responsibility for filling out the reports, submitting the quotations, in some cases doing the quotation yourself, in the hotel room after hours on your own nickel. You have to have a labor of love for that. Salary, this is where the fun begins. Depending on how it's structured, you could be straight commission, like I have been, and that's the most rewarding. It's also the most scary. You could be on a salary plus base. You could have a salary base and a car. Medical will be covered too. So there's a whole different gamut of packages out there. But generally speaking, besides being a doctor or a lawyer, sales is the next best profession to hang a shingle out and do. Other requirements, the BS begins here. Work with intercompany departments, engineering, manufacturing, management, HR. There you go. Prepare proposals and deliveries. Maintain a positive attitude to represent the company in a professional manner. Okay. Self-organization skills, exceptional communication skills. No, we want people that don't know how to talk. Successful pre-employment drug and alcohol screening. Uh-oh. Here comes my crew. Background screening, including previous employment, education, and criminal history. Where is Jake? Jake is no longer around. I don't know where he went to. The untold secrets of the job. Here's the bottom line. In sales, you're going to have a high level of frustration. You have to have a very high level of dealing with frustration because it can be very frustrating. Why? Because you're dealing with human beings. And that's the most irrational, random, non-logical, problem-solving situation you're ever going to be in. You're dealing with people. It's an emotional roller coaster because your sales are going to go up and down. There is no such thing as level bookings. I had a controller one time come to me and say, Mike, why don't you have level bookings? That would solve a lot of problems. Which tells you sometimes people get to be controllers because they're inept at doing anything else. I mean, how can you make a statement like that? Do you have level shipments? Yeah, we have pretty level shipments. Well, yeah, you know what's coming in the pipeline and you know what you have to build. You're totally random out there. You're at the mercy of maybe 15, 20 factors, none of which is in your control. They suddenly had an oil spike. Now oil's up to $100 a barrel. That puts the kibosh on anybody making any capital expenditures. You don't know. And you're not going to get that paycheck coming in every month. You get one big order. That's great, but for the next 2 months, you got to eat off of what you have in your bank account, basically. So you absolutely must have the ability to budget. If you don't budget, you're going to be out of money, and then you're going to live it off of credit cards. You're not going to be long for that organization. Now, the good news is you sink or swim on your own actions. This means that you have a fierce independence of action. Also, everybody else in the organization that's non-sales is going to be highly jealous of you and your independence because it looks like you're calling your own shots, setting your own hours, and doing your own thing. Well, to a point you are. But, my friends, if you sit on the couch watching TV, eating Cheetos, and don't make those sales calls, you're going to fail. And whose fault is it? It's your fault. You're the one in charge of your fate. Now, that can be good and that can be bad, but make no mistake, if you don't succeed, there's only one person to blame, and that's yourself. You also have to have frequent encounters of human stupidity. That goes with frustration levels. So that's the dirty little secret about sales. It's an emotional roller coaster. You have to budget, and you're dealing with people. Characteristics of a good salesman. Well, again, there's a whole raft I've been through, like I say, the last week working on this. The number one thing a sales guy has is credibility. When the credibility's gone, your value as a salesman's gone. That's why you have to develop credibility, the ability to be believed and trusted, that what you say is, as far as you can tell, you swear to it, because as far as you're concerned, that is the truth, and you're telling them straight. So never BS a customer or a prospect. Don't even get anywhere close to that where your honor and integrity is being questioned. If it is questioned and you can't prove what you said, then your credibility shot and you are useless in that environment again. The only thing you can do to recover is bring in your sales manager, try to back out of it, turn it over to him who has not proven his credibility one way or another, but it gives the customer an option. But don't ever get yourself into that position. It's other characteristics of a salesman. Well, I thought about this, and there's a lot of adjectives and everything else like that. But besides credibility, which you will be able to develop yourself, depending on the product and your attitude, you gotta. When I look at somebody, I'm going to say, can that guy hunt with a pack? Is that young man capable of running with a pack and developing into an A1 alpha sales guy? If he is, he's got a shot at it. And just by the fact that he's applying for the job, that tells me he's highly motivated. And that takes care of enthusiasm, patience, and all this other passion and all this other stuff. Is he trainable? That's the other thing to look at. Is he a great software guy, or he couldn't put flap A and a flap B on a box of cereal? You know, that's another aspect of it you got to look at. Can he grow into the professionalism? Yes, probably. Given a chance, there's only two reasons for failure, in my opinion: lack of a motivation and lack of ability. I can handle the ability side. We're not reinventing the rocket here every year. We're doing something that's been done for years. The other thing he's got to have is a never quit attitude. So that basically is what I consider. Can he establish credibility? Can he hunt with a pack? And does he have a never quit attitude? Now, with that said, there was a whole raft of adjectives here and just the qualities that I'll go through here quickly, because we're going to be running out of time here shortly. But basically, ability to listen. God gave you 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. In order to find out what the customer wants, you have to listen. Empathy. Look, I'm not there to take long, hot, warm showers with the customers. I care about if they're going to buy or not, but I don't need to be in his brain. Competitiveness. Well, C, running with a pack. Network ability. That's absolute BS. Networking ability. That just means, do you give back to the community? Do you network? Look, I've got a barber that cuts my hair, and as you've seen in the past videos, it's not that damn good a job. He has never bought a machine tool from me in my life, so forget that shit. Confidence, enthusiasm. You get confidence by knowing the product intimately. You know every nuance of the product inside and out. With that, you develop confidence. With that, you develop enthusiasm because you believe that's the best product out there in the market, and you want to get your customer involved with that long term because you believe in the product. And that all goes to credibility. Resilience. Well, that just goes with picking yourself up after you get knocked down. Multitasking. Multitasking skill is not a skill. That just means you're doing many things half-ass. That is not a virtue. Get that out of your mind. That's just something that's said to make somebody feel good. It's better to do one task thoroughly than a couple tasks half-ass. That's what multitasking means. Honesty. To a certain point in sales, yes, you have to be totally honest. You only have to be totally honest with that question that was asked you specifically. You don't have to go into detail saying, have you ever had a late shipment? Yes, we have. That's all you have to say. You don't have to say, well, yeah, I remember one time it was really bad. You don't have to go into that detail when asked that. You have to be honest. Don't ever BS a customer. But honesty does have degrees. Curiosity, adaptability, communication skills, obviously, persistence, tenacity, understanding value. Look, when you're against somebody and they're pulling the price deal where they're discounting the price, what's your option? You have to build value. So understanding value. You can't build value if you don't understand it. That's ambition. Obviously, you wouldn't be applying to be a sales guy, being running with the pack with the big dogs if you didn't have ambition. Charm. Every sales guy running with a pack has intelligence, good looks, and charm. Imagination. I just showed you. You have to have imagination. Patience, yes. Initiative, yes. So that's just a few things that probably are known out there, but wanted to be restated. Other things going on here is we'll get into the nuts and bolts of it, but basically that's a sales job itself. I find it highly rewarding, and it is emotionally and everything else on that, especially taking the sale away from 2 or 3 other guys that have been going tooth and nail on this thing for months, and you win it. It's just a good feeling like that. The commission doesn't hurt either, but it's knowing you got that for a small amount of time. You are the big dog, and everybody in the organization, hey, Mike, that's great, good job, all that, until your sales manager comes and says, now what are you going to do next? That's part of the job. You have to understand it. But yes, it is a rewarding aspect. But you have to deal with that emotional roller coaster and the ups and downs. And you'll be down more than you will be up. That's why it's so important for you to be able to work with the other guys on the team, because the only feedback you're going to get are from the other sales guys out there. You may be having a bad time and you're self-doubting yourself, which is natural. You show me a good sales guy, and I'll show you a paranoid sales guy, because we are all paranoid, especially when the orders aren't coming in. Is it me? Am I not doing something wrong? Is it the economy? So what you do, you talk to your peers, your other sales guys, to get feedback. How's it going in your territory? What are you seeing out there? How's the competition? Is brand X out there moving? Is brand Y cutting price by 30%? And that's the kind of interaction that you have to do and be a team player on. And you pass that information on to the other fellows as well, because we keep each other going, because that's all we got out here. Yes, you are correct. It's a sales team effort, but you're the Lone Ranger out there a lot of times in that territory by yourself, and you got to have initiative and drive and keep at it when it seems the darkest day. It's always darkest before the daylight. So take that for consideration. Hopefully you'll go watch more videos coming up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm out of here. Where's Jake? Did Jake ever show up?